Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shelf Space with Kino Lorber, where we talk about all things physical media with Kino Lorber's head of acquisitions, Frank Tarzi. I can't believe I'm actually in the studio today. This is very exciting.
It's great.
Today is our special end of year episode where we talk about the year that was, I guess. And he'll also be answering audience questions. So, as usual, thank you to those who submitted a question. If you would like to submit a question for a future episode, be sure to sign up for our newsletter to get on the email list. And if you have a customer service question, you can submit those at the link in the description below. So, hello. This is
I
so
moving up to
exciting.
New York.
Thank you.
It's great that you're here.
Thank you.
Um,
It's good to be back.
yeah, I will. I will. I promise to reveal a really cool 4K title later. So we'll do that.
We'll definitely talk a little bit about
As
2026.
far as the year's concerned, yeah, 2026 has been a challenging year. The industry continues to change. And doing deals, restoration, everything is becoming more and more complicated. The business itself is just we're doing well, so I cannot complain. But overall in the industry, it's continues to decline.
Mm,
Um, so we have to regularly
evolve.
evolve and change strategies and stuff like that because somewhere we gotta survive. So next year I'm currently working on a Studio Canal deal and a Paramount deal. We just signed a Universal deal, and we're gonna probably do some Blu-ray releases, like a few box sets and stuff like that, just to change things up. I'm also kind of coming up with special, like, curated type of box sets that I
Oh,
think
nice.
I'm gonna kind of take my time. I'm probably gonna do less and less producing next year as far as the actual discs and overseeing everything from start to finish. Um, but um, but overall, um, you know, I also kind of want to try to see if I could find some hidden gems, titles like Night of the Juggler and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Like, just
that was such a
start looking
great.
for who may own something or what else and stuff like that. So there's a lot of really good movies that I have like listed that I'm gonna try to research and try to see if I could find.
Did that one kind of light a spark in you to?
Yeah, it did. I'm a I'm actually gonna meet with I think I have a meeting with Mr. James Brolan on Monday and somebody else, one of his assistants. So we're going to be discussing a couple of things, and yeah, so he was very happy with the release of
Oh, good.
um, that of the Juggler. We're also, I think we have like 7 or 8 autographed posters, signed by James Brolin. So those are, I said that last time too, but we're going to offer those during the December sale, which there's only a couple of weeks, and these things come so fast.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure to send them a link to the shelf space, last month's shelf space. Where
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna choose who gets the posters. Probably, maybe the largest orders gets them. So maybe that's get people to buy more. so
we can
that's
do more. We did a social giveaway recently for Halloween, so we can do something like that.
yeah. But this is like we've done this in the past where we've gotten autographed Blu-rays. Like I know we had John Landis and Joe Dante sign Amazon Woman in the Moon, and we had Clive Barker signed copies of Rawhead Rex. So we've had those in the past, but this is the first time we're actually going to be giving away posters. So this is full 27 by 40 poster of Night of the Juggler.
That's great art.
Autographed by James Brolin. Silver Sharpie, so it looks really nice.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I have one hanging in my office, and I have another one that I kept at home, but the rest of it we gave away a few copies, and then Jonathan Herzberg got one. So
He's a good friend of ours.
yeah.
All right, so that's 2026, and you can talk more about that at the end of the episode. But should we talk about 2025 a little bit?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it was a challenging year. We've released a lot of really good stuff. The Juggler, of course, that I mentioned, and I'm very happy that we did the airport films. They're not
Mhm.
great films, but they must be seen. You know, they're fun. They have great casts. You know, my favorite one is probably 77, I think. The one that Jack Lemmon, the one that the underwater one. That's probably my favorite of the bunch.
Is that on your list of your favorite releases from the year?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the whole April collection, the Abbott and Costello films, you know, Uncle Buck. There's been some films that are we released a lot of good stuff. So Shane, of course, you know, and Sons of Iwo Donovan's Reef, some really great titles. Next year we have like some you know, I'm very happy with the list of titles that we're working on right now with the you know that we haven't announced yet. So I think there's going to be some really cool titles coming out next year.
Cool.
We're currently working on restorations of Jesus Christ Superstar and other films that I've already announced, but the next batch is going to be announced pretty soon. So
This year, there were a lot of great 90s titles that were released from my childhood. But Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Black Sheep,
yeah,
Wayne's World 2. Trying to think what else. Cause I'm a 90s kid.
Road Trip.
Road Trip.
Yeah, those we did a lot of comedies. That was funny because a lot of those were like the main reason we picked them up was because I think they had been restored already, so it was easier. The Adam Sandler movies we did ourselves, and I think the Chris Farley one we did ourselses, but Wayne's World 2, Airplane 2, Mouse Hunt, all those were like acquired because they already had beautiful restorations done by Paramount. So
Mm. Yeah, it's been a big.
that's always great when that happens, you know, because it makes it easier for us to release stuff like that. So
And then there was Bottoms, which was kind of like a little bit of an
yeah,
outlier.
that's been a big hit for us.
Yeah.
That's done really well. We're gonna look into doing similar types of releases, but
Get that Gen Z audience.
yeah. I mean, it got a really good response. It's the filmmakers were involved, you know, and
Which is great.
we got it's loaded with extras. Yeah, it's been a very good seller for us. So, and you know, Fletch and Fletch Lives. Were those this year or those last year? I mean, I think it may have been last year. I don't know. I'm kind of losing track, but those did very well too. So, oh, of course, the Ninja movies, that box set I'm also really proud of. And even though it's not a 4K set, I was very happy to be able to put the Death Wish films together as a box set. Last year, we were the first company to put out the Bob Hope Big Cross We Road to collection as a complete set because rights are with different companies. So, I'm looking into doing some cool box sets, hopefully in 2026. So.
Nice, very exciting. Did you see any good films in theaters this year? They come to mind.
Well, there's one person that kind of kidnaps me and takes me to movies. So
I like how you use kidnaps.
Yeah,
It's a strong word.
well, she kind of does, so especially the first time we saw Jurassic together. But then the second movie I saw this year also was with her, which was the Predator, the new Predator movie, which I actually like. I thought it was really good. Of course, it's not as good as the original. The original is a classic, but
it's changed so much.
Yeah, but I think in one of the Alien versus Predator movies, they kind of showed the good side of the Predators, that they're not the killing machines that the aliens are. That there's
a backstory
So this movie, you know, was probably the first one that's really from the point of view of the Predator, you know. So
interesting. Is it the same filmmaker who did Prey? Did you see Prey?
I'm not sure if it's the same filmmakers because to be honest with you, a lot of the young filmmakers I don't know. Okay, for me, it's like I stopped like really paying attention to, you know,
past a certain year.
Yeah, I would say Paul Thomas Anderson, and those are guys are the last few guys. Did
you see his latest?
The guy that did the guy that's done Dune and all that. I kind of
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's probably the last of the younger directors. He's not him and Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Guys around, those are the last few guys that I kind of know, but
Tarantino's about to retire.
yeah, Tarantino's gonna retire, and you know, he's gonna be, hopefully he goes out with a great film. You know, also my time in Hollywood was really, really impressive and really good. But it's not my favorite, because a lot of people, it's probably my top five. Well, I wouldn't say top five. I would say probably it's for sure. And but I like all his films.
Yeah.
So it's not a situation where I like I could say just because it ends up number 6 or number 7 that it's a bad movie. No, it's not. It's just I'm a fan of his. So we're going to be releasing actually 4 Rooms, which is
Oh, cool.
you know, one of the few, is four shorts. One of them was directed by him, one Robert Rodriguez, and Allison Anders, and
Another good 90s title.
yeah, Alexander.
Kane?
I think so. Yeah.
Did you see the latest P.T. Anderson? One battle after another.
No, I want to see it because like because this one really is one that I'm really interested in seeing. A lot of his stuff last few films that he's released, I had no interest in seeing. So
This one's got Leo and Benicio.
that one with Danny Day-Lewis plays the designer or whatever.
Phantom Thread.
Yeah, I had no interest in seeing that.
It's actually pretty good though.
The one that I saw that I was kind of disappointed with was the Joaquin Phoenix one, where he plays a detective.
Oh,
drug addict detective.
Oh, Inherent Vice.
Yeah, Inherent Vice. I was actually kind of disappointed with that. I mean, it has good moments.
It was very quirky.
It's very
offbeat.
very weird, and I liked, you know, Josh Brolin.
There was one scene that I was crying with laughter.
Well, Josh Brolin is really good at it, and I think Joaquin Phoenix is always great. He's one of the probably best actors in the world. So, but I wasn't. Yeah, I mean, the last film of his that I really really liked was There Will Be Blood. You know, which I thought was an amazing film. It was a masterpiece. But and I'm a big Boogie Nights fan, but I don't like Magnolia, and I don't like so I'm kind of like in between with him. I mean, I'm not as big a fan of his as I am as Tarantino or the Coen Brothers and stuff like that. So.
Well, when is the next? Is it coming out next year?
Oh, who knows? I mean,
it's still
about 5 years from now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hasn't really mentioned what it's gonna be. I think there's been rumors that he wants to do something, but then I think he's kind of worried about what the 10th film would be.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. In some ways, he was like, "Oh, I wish it could have been Once Upon a Time in Hollywood." I could have just.
Oh, he's got. Yeah, I mean, it kind of does have a fitting. Ending to it. Yeah.
Well, it does make sense. It would have been like a good finale for
like a love letter to his career and his
and it's this, you know, in Los Angeles and everything else. So,
well, it's got to top that then. Well, the holidays are also coming up, so I was curious to see if you had any favorite holiday movies or movies set around the holidays that.
You know, the typical Christmas movies. You know, It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street, the original. The remake is actually very good too. So those are like from the original, the Christmas classics. Yeah, I would say Christmas Story is another one, and the Christmas Story is one of those weird ones where like it's become like a classic now. And I remember when it came out, it was kind of dismissed, and some people
it's a cult favorite now.
But now it's like people love that film. It's like considered like, you know.
Yeah.
Similar to like Willy Wonka when it came out originally, people, you know, didn't get a great reaction that it
was ahead of its time.
But now, like, Willy Wonka is like one of the greatest comedies, you know, of all time. You know, but you know, Die Hard.
Mentioned Die Hard, yeah.
Die Hard is one that like, is it a Christmas movie? Of course, it's a Christmas movie. It has so much Christmas in it, like the whole the beginning of the film, the songs, all the music that's in it. But even Lethal Weapon has a lot of Christmas, you know, like it's done around Christmas. And then before Die Hard, that was the first one that it ends with a Christmas song. The end credits a Christmas song, which Die Hard also did.
If it takes place around Christmas, Christmas is gonna show up. You know, it's
right. I mean, you know, Ice Harvest, the movie release, that's kind of based around Christmas. There's some films that are. Of course, Gremlins. Gremlins, I think, is a Christmas movie, and
there's a lot of great horror movies that are set around Christmas.
Right.
I was looking at a list earlier. Let me see.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy. When I was at Olive, I released Bells of Saint Mary, and I did very well for us. It was like a big selling title. Um, and I think here I did a couple of them. Pocket Full of Miracles, I released, which is more of a New Year's Eve movie, but it is around
The
Christmas, New Year's Eve.
holiday, yeah.
And then I also did the Holly and the Ivy,
Oh, right, yeah.
which is the classic British that we still have. So that actually has been streaming on this
Kino
gonna
Film
last year streamed during Christmas. We're gonna have it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think in November, December.
Shout out to Kino Film Collection.
Yeah, and
Do you have any guilty pleasure, like romantic, Hallmarky type Christmas movie?
no, but there's a movie that I don't want to say it's a guilty pleasure because I really like it, but I forgot what it's called. It has Jack Black and Jude Law and
The Holiday.
The Holiday.
You like that movie?
I like that movie.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I watched it
surprised.
and I was really
It's charming.
it's charming. I like some romantic comedies. For people will be surprised.
I am a little surprised.
Yeah, no, I do. I like I love The Wedding Singer. I love
That's a classic.
yeah, but I mean there is a lot of romantic comedies. I mean the Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan movies. I'm a fan of all of those. So.
Yeah.
Sleeps in Seattle, Linda, the one, Who's Got Mail.
That was a golden era of romantic comedy.
She was really, really, really one of the
so lovable,
romantic comedy stars. But there's no, if it's a good one. I'm kind of a sucker when it comes to tearjerkers and stuff like that.
Really?
So I do watch stuff like that.
What about Love Actually? Because that is like a lot of people's favorite holiday.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think it may be a little overrated. I've seen it. I like it. It's just so much going on.
There's a lot of storylines.
Yeah. So
a lot of huge names.
it just becomes a little too much for me.
Is there a movie you watch every?
As far as romantic comedies are concerned, that I really love is Notting Hill. Is another one I really like.
Okay.
So the Julia Roberts.
Hugh Grant. He's also
Hugh Grant
king of rom-coms.
Yeah, he was Four Weddings and a Funeral and other ones.
Yeah. What else was he? Notting Hill. What's the big? Well, he was in Love Actually.
Yeah. But I have people will be surprised, but I do like romantic comedies. I don't think I have any of them in my collection outside of maybe Moonstruck, which is a great movie. Maybe some of the 40s ones, I may have some of those in my collection. But
Sabrina, which you released this year.
Sabrina, we put out this year, and we're just about to release the remake, which
with Harrison
Ford and Julia Ormond and Greg Kinnear.
I saw that in theaters.
Yeah, I saw it. I remember my parents and my mom, my dad, my older brother, and my sister. They kind of forced me to go. I had just been those times I used to see a lot of movies, but I had just been I wouldn't say I was dumb because she moved to Paris and then the movie I go to see when I was really depressed and missing her was Sabrina. So I was like, this is really messed up that you guys took me to this movie.
That's cold.
Because then the movie he gets on the Concorde and he meets her at her apartment. I was like, shit, I wish I couldn't.
Aw. And then after that, watch French Kiss with Meg Ryan, which is also
French Kiss is pretty good. Yeah, that's too.
Kevin Kline. Man, those
Kevin Kline, Fish Called Wanda is like a great Kevin Kline one. So
he's an underrated actor. I feel like.
Oh, he's really good. He's
so good.
He could do comedy and he could do drama also. So I released a few of his films. So
he was in a Apple show that I watched recently, which was just okay with Cate Blanchett. That's what he's been up to.
Yeah, I don't watch stuff that's just okay anymore. If it doesn't get me in the first half hour or so, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Is there a holiday movie you watch every year?
No, because I don't. The holidays meant a lot more to me when I was a little boy. When I was a kid, even when I was probably my early 20s, but after a certain point, it just becomes, you just see it for what it is, like, cash grab, consumerism, and all that stuff. And so, I mean, same as birthdays. You come to a point. I mean, birthdays. Why people don't enjoy this birthday like this as a kid? Because you're a kid. As a kid, you enjoy getting stuff and all that. As an adult, you're like, oh, okay, thank you for that. But
it sounds like you're the subject of like a holiday movie where you need to have the magic, like, have that spark lit again inside of
oh, yeah, like a
believe what you
Mr.
believe in
Destiny
magic.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
It sounds like you've lost the
Yeah.
Christmas spirit.
I've lost the Christmas spirit. I need like
you need some kind of meet
we need to do a Scrooge. But the only thing is that I'm not a cheap bastard, so I'm actually pretty generous. So I don't know how. But I have lost the spirit. You're right. So we could do like a Scrooge where they visit my past, and
where it's like you're not like a Scrooge type, but you're more just like, life is just I wasn't gonna say it.
Well, I am kind of, like I said, I am kind of a loner. I enjoy spending time by myself. So kind of a hermit. So that part of it I could like, but I do enjoy company of good people. Like it takes a while for me to warm up to people. Like I don't. I have a very small circle of friends. When I care about somebody, or somebody becomes my friend, it's like usually it's forever. So that's the way it is. So
I think that's more meaningful.
Yeah. So even when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, I need my space. I need my freedom. I need to have some.
Sometimes you'd rather spend time with a movie than like making small talk with.
Sometimes not even. Sometimes it's just like you want to just put something in the background, just do your thing. You have projects to do around the house. You just do that, and it's. Drama is not something I'm looking for.
Nobody has time for that.
In life or in movies, pretty much.
I love it. Well,
I'm not I know Jonathan was naming all these movies that were realistic and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't want to watch.
You want to escape.
I saw all of those films. I seen them, and I'm kind of done with that. I want escapism is what I'm looking for. Stuff that kind of could take me, like the Predator movie was a lot of fun. It was I didn't know where it was going. It was kind of hard to kind of first 20 minutes, half hours a little, because it's all he sees the Predator, and they have the makeup and all that stuff.
Right, and it's from the Predator's POV.
It's from the on his planet. I'm not gonna give away what happens. Okay. Something tragic happens, and he has to go. And he goes on a mission, like kind of a death mission, to try to capture like a certain creature, a certain planet. And as he gets there, there's he runs into a android, and played by I think Elle Fanning. I think. So
I had no idea she was in there.
Yeah, I think she. So she's. I think that's her. I think she's. I may be wrong, but. So she's, even though she's an android, she brings in the human side of the story into the
I see,
because she's little robot with dreams.
I'm glad they're finally humanizing the Predator. It only took 40 years, but here we are.
I always kind of enjoyed the Danny Glover one. That was all like in Los Angeles during a really hot summer.
I did not.
And
not familiar with.
Oh yeah, that's the actual second Predator movie. Came out a few years after the Schwarzenegger one.
That sounds very different from the original.
No, yeah, it is, because that original was in the jungle, and this one is
very dark.
It's in Los Angeles, and he's killing drug dealers, and he's killing cops, and.
Okay, but I feel like the second movie in a series is always the wild card. Like we were talking about Gremlins too.
Sometimes. Well,
and same with Die Hard. The second one was kind of just.
No, actually, the second Die Hard is very. It is also based on a disaster series. The first one was Towering Inferno.
My favorite one.
The first one was Towering Inferno. The second one was Airport. That's what. The third one is the one that has really nothing to do with.
But that one was disaster. So good.
Die Hard, I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it, but it's not your typical Die Hard movie. That's the one that kind of steps out.
Interesting.
And
I think maybe I'm just judging by the quality.
quality, yeah. But I actually like the second one. I see. Here's the thing with the second one. Rennie Harlan, I think, is an underrated director. And then when I went to see that in the theater, I saw it on a midnight or 10 p.m. Thursday night screening at the Criterion Theater in Manhattan. And it was over 1,500, 1,200 seats sold out. And when I walked out of the theater, I was like, "Oh, this was better than the first one."
Really?
Because of the crowd's response. I mean, it was like going to an amusement park.
Yeah.
Seeing movies with that crowd is like, there's nothing like it. I saw Die Hard in Manhattan, and then I saw the same summer I went to Toronto for vacation. I saw it with a Canadian crowd, and it was a completely different movie, a different experience. Same with Aliens. I remember Aliens, seeing that with New York crowd compared to a Canadian crowd.
More polite up
I
there.
think a lot of times the third one is the one that kind of takes a different direction. Halloween did
Yeah, I
that.
guess so, because they weren't in a set location where he had to figure out.
Halloween did that, and a lot of times the third one they kind of did this in the 80s. They did the 3D version, so like this Friday the 13th 3D and Jaws 3D. Jaws also was a completely different direction. They got rid of the whole Jaws 1, 2, and 4 are all part of the same, the Roy Scheider's side of the story. The third one has nothing to do with them. It's like,
Okay, so maybe the second or third. Maybe it's
a lot of times it's third.
is
I think it's the third that kind of like steps out and does something different. So
kind of like the Tokyo Drift of the Fast and the Furious. Okay, well, before we get into audience questions, do you want to make any other announcements for 2026?
Well, I'm just gonna confirm another title. I'm a huge fan of this film. It's kind of a subgenre thing where there was disaster films, with Earthquake and Poseidon Adventure and Towering Inferno were huge in the 70s. But then there was also like the subgenre of disaster films, the ones that had a villain, like a terrorist type of, you had Black Sunday and you had 2 Minute Warning and stuff like that. So one of my favorites of that genre, the subgenre, is Rollercoaster, and that incredible cast, George Segal, Richard Widmark, I mean, great cast. And so we're gonna put that out on 4K. I'm very happy to be doing that next year. So yeah, so Rollercoaster is one that we're gonna be doing next year. So I can confirm that.
Cool. Is that the one that you're looking forward to the most?
It's one of the ones I'm really looking forward to. I love that film. I remember as a kid, I used to play on HBO always. I used to always watch it. And it's like it's a guy who, booby traps roller coasters, and it's like they have to figure out which park he's gonna go after next and all that stuff.
I see.
So yeah, so that's one of the subgenre of the disaster films that I was a big fan of.
Kind of like Speed. Would that be considered in that genre?
Well, Speed, no. Speed is I would say, see, and when Die Hard came out, it gave everybody they were like, wow, we could make all disaster movies into action films. Die Hard 2 was the airport. That was the first one. Cliffhanger, with Stallone, was very much like part of the disaster movies. But then at certain point, they were like, well, why don't we just make disaster films again? And that's when Twister came out.
I see.
And Dante's Peak.
Yeah.
And
San Andreas.
and there was another Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones.
Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak was ours. That's the one we're putting out. With Pierce Brosnan, and and then you had stuff like Day After Tomorrow and stuff again, which is sci-fi and disaster at the same time. Which Roland Emmerich did a bunch of those. So
it's a good genre. Scary because now more and more it's just real life, but
yeah.
Well, that's exciting. So 2026 is going to be a good year. We do have some audience questions if you are ready to answer.
Sure.
So I'm just going to read off of my computer. Rick is asking, will there be more Audie Murphy Western collections?
I think there's like five films left with Universal that I haven't released, and all those 5 have to be remastered. So we may do them just because I'm kind of a completist. So, um, but it will take a little bit of time. Probably it's probably going to be, if it's going to happen, it's probably going to be in 2027. Well, the idea is to pick up those 5 films and then maybe put the one with him and James Stewart in there in one of the sets that we've already released separately to make it 2 more collections of 6. I think at one point I looked at and I don't want to put the non-westerns like the film noir that he did or the war film in the box sets. I think the box sets have done well because they're Audie Murphy and also they're westerns, you know. So yes, I think there's 5 other Universal westerns that he has that has never been out, but all of those need new transfers. So the HD masters will cost us something. So we have to figure out a way to do those. So.
Well, Gary R. Hafer is asking, for collectors like us, what is your thinking about the obvious downturn in manufacturers who commit to producing Blu-ray players? Should it continue, we face the very real possibility of having a treasured library that is without a usable player.
I don't think I think there's always going to be the cheap versions, you know, there's going to be companies that mass produce, you know, from Hong Kong and then India and places like that. You're going to have players somewhere. As far as the major really top notch quality ones, yeah, you're not going to get those. Eventually they're going to stop making them. You know, 3D TVs, they've stopped making those for a long time, but we continue to release movies on 3D and do very well with them. The only difference now is that we include the red and blue, you know, glasses for people that don't have 3D TVs, you know. So
there's always the used market too. I feel like those are going to be circulating.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be some type of a Blu-ray player that plays, you know, they'll play your discs. I don't think they're gonna go out of business. You know, it's not gonna be. Like I said, like Sony and some of these other places may eventually stop making them, but I think there will be. And I know that people are afraid because also there's a lot of the new PlayStations don't have disk drives anymore. So
maybe
computers don't have disk drives anymore.
No.
So
maybe it'll be a niche market, just like discs themselves.
Oh, but I mean, right now there's labels that create. It's just gonna be Blu-rays that probably there's gonna be players that's probably gonna break down quickly. They're not gonna be top quality, but they're also gonna be cheap. So
yeah, it'll do the job for a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you? Johnny Guitar is asking, any possibility of releasing the rest of Billy Wilder's filmography? You're only 11 away.
Johnny Guitar is asking.
Do you know this person?
Well, no, there's a movie called Johnny Guitar. So. People have asked about that. About us putting that out. We've looked into it with Johnny Guitar, but that was as far as Billy Wilder films are concerned, well, not all of them are available to us. There's some, I think, couple are with studios we've never done deals with, and titles like Sunset Boulevard. So I think Paramount put that out themselves. You know, so would I put out all of his films? I would love to do that because that would be incredible. That I actually had. He's one of my top 10 favorite directors. So for me to be able to put out all his films would be an honor. But I don't think it's possible for us to do that. So. I mean, one Buddy is I think that's with Warner Brothers. So releasing that is almost kind of impossible because we haven't done a deal with Warner Brothers. So
yeah, a lot of factors at play.
Yeah.
Stephen Gorlick is asking, would you consider acquiring and releasing previously undistributed and unreleased movies, specifically those with a troubled past, such as the Peter Sellers comedy Ghost in the Noonday Sun? Films such as this are clearly not masterpieces, but I suspect that collectors such as myself would be very curious to see them.
Well, I'm not really familiar with that movie. He's saying that it's never been released.
Yeah, because it has a troubled past, I guess. I'm not familiar with that.
Well, there's films. There's films that were shot that were never finished because one of the actors or somebody like died during the filming. There's like a Marilyn Monroe movie with Dean Martin that they had started shooting before she passed away.
Mm.
Then there's movies, of course, the legendary Jerry Lewis, you know, Holocaust film, which I guess he finished. That was played at some festivals, but it's like, yeah, we would be interested in some releasing stuff like that. But again, there's not a large market for it. Nobody's heard of him. So
I guess, yeah, it seems like he's implying because that it has such a, it's, kind of infamous. It has this like
yeah, but
story around it that
that
collectors are
no, a
interested.
very small
Yeah.
percentage of collectors would really, I think, would. No, I mean, I think it was called Tears of a Clown. I think the Jerry Lewis film that would do really well because that's like legendary unreleased film. It's like
Mhm.
one of those like people. It's almost like if somebody found the lost footage of Magnificent Ambersons or and put that and we're finally released that on the way as Orson Welles' cut or something like that. Yeah, something like that. But as far as films that got produced but never got distribution and stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, those are probably going to be very difficult
Hmm.
to acquire.
Are you a Peter Sellers fan?
I'm a huge Peter Sellers fan, but um, I'm a big fan of the Pink Panther films. I love the Clouseau films.
Which that came out this year, right?
Yeah, well, December. Yeah, we're gonna put those out in December. But we're not all of them. The third one, Return of the Pink Panther, is with Universal, so that's gonna come out next year, and then we're gonna put the 5 films. I know there's a sixth film, Trail of the Pink Panther, that has some sequences with him in it, deleted scenes from previous movies and all of that. But that film is not. It's not an actual completed film. It was like a movie that he died during the making of Trail of Pink Panther. So we didn't put that one out um on 4K, but we may put it out on Blu-ray next year, just so it'll be available. Um, the My favorite of the, I would say, Pink Panther Strikes Again is probably my favorite. The best movie I think is Shot in the Dark, but Pink Panther Strikes Again is probably the funniest. It's like start to finish, it's just insane. It's bonkers. Uh, Dreyfus, who's played by the great Herbert Lom, becomes like a Bond villain, and his his story does not like in Shot in the Dark. He accidentally kills I don't know how many people, and then of course in Return of the Pink Panther he ends up in an insane asylum, and then in the third one and Strikes Again he escapes from the insane asylum and becomes a Bond villain. But then somehow in Revenge of the Pink Panther, he's an inspector again. Like
I need to do my
the guy like I think destroys the United Nations in the third and fourth one. He erases it from existence.
wow.
Uh, so
Pretty
yeah, so
villainous.
Strikes Again. I think Return of the Pink Panther is really funny. It's just it has like a little bit more of a mean side to it. So I would say Strikes Again is my favorite, then Shot in the Dark, then probably Return of the Pink Panther, then the original Pink Panther, and then last will be Revenge of the Pink Panther, which is the first one I saw. I was like a little boy, I saw that with my mom, with my dad and my older brother, and I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's just like I went to a screening of Pink Panther Strikes Again. I took some friends to go see him, and they were just not into it. They just I don't know what it was, but and it was really disappointing when you take people to something that you
That's the
like,
worst feeling.
and then they're like not really into it.
Yeah.
But what made the whole experience memorable for me was there was like a mom and a 10-year-old boy sitting behind me, and that 10-year-old boy, like I haven't heard a kid laugh as hard as that. Like from start to finish,
Yeah.
this kid was laughing. So I was like, all right, even though these assholes didn't get the film,
This kid gets
this
it.
kid gets it. This
Yeah.
kid is so I was it was really like made like I said, made the screening really memorable because of this kid really enjoying the heck out of that movie.
Aw.
So
I'm gonna have to show that to my kid.
yes, wait until it's
Wait till she's around like 9 or 10.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, Vince Connor asks, when is your next 3D release? Speaking of 3D,
Uh,
how about Hondo? He's asking. I know the elements exist as I've seen a 3D print of the film. While limited, there are hundreds of thousands of 3D enthusiasts.
yeah. Well, Hondo's a no-brainer. If we could release it, we would have released it. It's part of the Batjack library, which Paramount distributes, but they don't own, so they cannot license those films. It's owned by the John Wayne estate. So in fact, Michael Wayne has passed away. So I don't even know who the hell to talk to about that. But technically, the studio is not allowed to license them. So the High and the Mighty, which is probably the original disaster film of all, it's the original Airport, which is a great film. Island in the Sky and Seven Men from Now, which is a Randall Scott film. All those movies are not available because of that. So Hondo's not available. I There's probably from the studios that I've dealt with. I think there's probably stuff that I haven't dealt with. Sony has some titles that we never done. But we almost did a deal with we almost released The Mad Magician again and a couple other ones where we ended up canceling them. Um, we have we're hoping to release Jerry Lewis's Centennial is on March 16th or 17th or something like that. It's on a Monday, so the day after that. We're hoping to finally put out Money from Home, which is the for only 3D film Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin did together. Um, so that's being restored right now. So we're hoping to put that out in March, and we also have Hyperspace. Hyperspace that's going to be coming out soon too. So we have two 3D films right now on the license that we're planning to release.
Very cool. Well, speaking of John Wayne, Glenn G asks, I'm always excited when Kino releases a John Wayne title on 4K. Besides War Wagon, are there any more Wayne 4Ks on the horizon?
No, but yes.
Mhm.
Currently under license, no, but we're planning to release a few. So I would say another between two studios, another 3 or 4 films. Maybe between 3 studios, another 4 or 5 films.
Okay, so that's a big yes.
So yeah, so there's come some. We're working on it. We're hoping to put out some John Wayne stuff. So
This is a very interesting question from Care Lockhart. Has the color of blood in a horror film ever caused color timing problems in a restoration?
yeah, but well, because depending when the film was shot and how it was shot, uh, some movies intentionally the blood looks fake. So when you're doing color grading, you got to make sure to match the original intended look and not make it into. If you watch a giallo films, the blood is very red. That's not the way blood really looks. Blood is more burgundy. So if you wanted to really correct that, uh, yeah, you would. You would change, but we always want to release the film the way the filmmaker intended it
Yeah,
originally. So those colors in giallo films are so beautiful. With all the Suspiria or something like that last time.
it's a whole vibe.
Yeah. So um, there's also when it comes to I got lost. There was something else I was going to mention, but I forgot what I was talking about. So I'm getting old.
Another horror filmmaker.
No. I was thinking about I was gonna go from discussing um the color grading of horror films. I had a conversation with a filmmaker who's also, well, Bill Lustig.
He's
lunch
been on the show.
I had lunch with him last a couple of weeks ago. We went to a steakhouse as our regular New York lunch that we have. And he mentioned the movie that I'm hoping to release one day. And he was like, well, if you see the movie during one of the main stunt sequences, you could see the wires.
Oh, really?
And he says, if I release the film, I would digitally remove the wires. He said, would you do the same? And I was like, well, yes, it makes sense to do that. But at the same time, originally when that film was shown in the theaters, you probably saw the wires.
It kind of speaks to the time
Right, right.
period.
It was so do we do it or we don't? Do we fix that mistake when we can, or do we leave it alone? That's a good question. That's a question some fans could answer and see what they.
Yeah.
So let's say there's like a great stunt, then you could actually see the wires. Would you rather have the wires be erased, which is a very simple procedure? You could do that now, or do we keep it because it was originally in the film the way it was?
It's part of the fingerprint, the DNA of the original film.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's a lot of discussion on how perfect people want to see a restoration, especially if it's an older. It's like when you listen to vinyl, you don't want it to sound clean and overproduced. You kind of want some of the imperfections in there because it's like a piece of history. But then, yeah, I think it depends on what it is. If it's like a glaring mistake that is really, really distracting, maybe you want to get rid of it. But if it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. When CDs came out and people were like, "Oh, this is great. There's no more scratching. You don't hear the needle going over the the vinyl and all that." And then then singers started putting the vinyl sound into their CDs, Portishead and people like that. So I remember one time there was some record store, somebody returned the disc. It was like, this looks like it's been somebody just copied the record because it has the sound of the needle hitting the like that's the point. That was the point. That's
Bert Duckwall asks, do you guys have any plans to license movies?
That's a great name.
Bert Duckwall?
Bert Duckwall.
Yeah, that is a great name. Do you have plans to license movies from Amazon, MGM's Canon Films, and Empire Pictures libraries? I feel like maybe someone has asked this before.
Well, MGM, we've done deals with. We were going to continue working with them, so we're hoping to do another deal next year. We're going to renew a bunch of titles that are going to be expiring, and we're also looking into putting out some new films. As far as Canon, yeah, Canon is MGM, and AIP is MGM, and Orion is MGM. MGM does not own their own library pre-1986. That's all with Warner Brothers, so that's why something like Ear of the Dragon is out with Warner Brothers and not with MGM. But as far as Amazon titles are concerned, or the newly produced titles are concerned, there was a point we had a discussion with them about doing some TV shows and some movies. Bottoms was one that was one of the new MGM produced theatrical films, and that kind of became available to us. So we're looking into doing more of those types of films because Bottoms was very successful. So
cool. Actually, this is a good question. Noel Morgan asks, how soon can I get a copy of the video Put Your Soul in Your Hands and Walk, which is in theaters right now? That's a great.
I think it's coming out in February or something like that, or January, February. I think it's probably going to be coming out around the Oscar time. I'm not really sure. We're hoping to get a nomination, I think. So
fingers crossed.
So
cool. Well, that's not too far in the future.
It's January 13th. January 13th.
Oh, thank you, Dylan. Okay, Philip Malamuth asks, I've just released 2 Kino Classics Library of Congress collections, the Vitagraph comedies and Wonder Dogs, and they are both just superlative. Any news on what might be coming next from Library of Congress?
Those are more questions for Brad Wood, because he's the one that usually he's in touch with them more. Once in a while, a film becomes available where he asks me if, oh, Frank, like this is more of a Studio Classics style. Do you want to do this or whatever? But Brett's the one that usually deals with the George Eastman House and UCLA and Library of Congress and all those kind of places. So, and MoMA and all of them. So
cool. Well, I'm sure Brett will be on Shelf Space sometime in the future and can answer that. Olaf Thompson, this is our last question. Olaf Thompson asks, is there any chance you will upgrade the last 4 Universal Clint Eastwood films that you have the rights to 4K? I'm thinking about Coogan's Bluff, The Beguiled, Joe Kid, and Breezy.
Well, Breezy, no way. That's just not. It's unless restoration is done and then it's available to us. Maybe even then, I'm not really sure. Um, those other three have done well on Blu-ray, but not well enough for me to take the chance, because even of the ones we've put out, um, like Two Mules has not done the kind of numbers, and Eiger Sanction has not done the kind of numbers that I Plays Drifter and Play Misty for Me has done. We and those Blu-rays have done much better than Joe Kidd, and surprisingly, I think Julio's Bluff is probably the worst selling of the ones starring Eastwood, which is kind of shocking because it has a great cast. It's shot in New York. It has Don Siegel, Um, and then there's The Beguiled it's like a beautifully made film, but again, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say no. I would say outside chance of The Beguiled. Joe Kidd, I don't know. I mean, I would say outside chance of all three. But I wouldn't. Breezy maybe would do a new transfer, a new restoration kind of a thing, but not on 4K. I just don't see it. So.
Any titles other than those four that he listed?
No, that's the whole Universal Eastwood library.
Okay.
We've already done Eiger Sanction and Two Meals of Sister Sarah and The High Plains Drifter and Play Misty for Me.
Okay.
Those are the four we've done already.
I remember Play Misty for Me was last year's most popular title.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the most popular title.
Oh, based on the audience submission.
Yeah, it was. It was very. It was, like I said, it was a. It did very, very well for us, but it didn't do the kind of numbers that, something like To Live and Die in LA or something like that did. So, but yeah, I would love to release. Clint Eastwood is probably my favorite. I wouldn't. He's not the best actor of all time. He's my favorite movie star. I mean, I would say my top 5 favorite actors of all time, like just being as far as being a fan. I would say it's Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Lee Marvin, Burt Lancaster, and I would say and Steve McQueen probably. And then it's guys like Bronson and Eastwood and Burt Reynolds and other great ones, Robert Ryan and other people that I'm huge fans of, Humphrey Bogart. But
manly men.
No, not a
classic leading man types.
I'm a big fan of Paul Newman. He wasn't manly man. I think Paul Newman wasn't like
definitely leading man type.
It was very leading man.
Yeah.
But no, I think that I think Gene Hackman is the greatest actor of all time. I mean,
R.I.P.
Yeah, he was. There's not an actor that I can remember that I never said, oh, he's acting or he's giving a performance. It was like he was probably the most real, the most naturally delivering his lines and everything.
Yeah,
he never gave a bad performance. He was in bad movies, but he was great in it. Like you watch a bad movie that he's in, he shows up, you're like, wow, he's so good. Why is he wasting his time on this? And so I think that he is, like people always talk about Spencer Tracy being a great actor. Yeah, of course he is, but I think Gene Hackman is the greatest actor of all time. But Clint Eastwood is probably my favorite movie star of all time, and he's a great director too. And I got to shake his hand. I've seen him twice in person, so I got to shake his hand one time, which was an honor. So
that's great.
It was during the Mystic River. I think it was New York Film Festival at the Tavern of the Green, and Sean Penn and Tim Robbins and all these other people were walking around. Like, I could care less, but well, I'm waiting to see to get a chance to shake hands with that. But as far as seeing people in person, I remember seeing Sidney Poitier. Those are the people that impressed me. Today's actors, I'm like, I don't know. First of all, I'm older than them. I'm not going to get impressed by some punk that's younger than me.
Timothée Chalamet doesn't impress you, Frank?
No, Timothy Chalamet, no, not at all.
Jacob Elordi?
No. I would say from the younger actors that I respect, I would say Joaquin Phoenix. I think is a great actor.
I like that you consider him a younger actor.
Oh, he's probably younger than me. I think he's probably. I'm not sure.
50s, probably.
Yeah, well, I'm in 50s too, so we're probably around the same age.
Up here.
So I know like Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise. These guys are a little older than me. They're like 5 years, 4 years older. So they're older than me. So, but I also like them. I like Tom Cruise. To me, I was never a fan of his when he was a teen idol. He was making the romantic films.
Business.
Oh, I like Risky Business. I like Risky Business. I like his first two movies, All the Right Moves and first starring roles. But when he did Cocktail and Days of Thunder, all that stuff, I wasn't a fan of his. Far and Away. Yeah, all that stuff I was not into. But post Mission Impossible, I became a fan of it. I think he's a really good action star. So
he is. He sets the bar.
Yeah. So for me,
yeah,
and I think Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the greatest actors of all time. I mean, much as I didn't want to see The Phantom Thread, but I also haven't seen Lincoln. But he is, Gangs of New York and There Will Be Blood, and
yeah, he's one of the greats.
He's an incredible actor. And
Joaquin.
What's his name? The guy that played the villain in Casino Royale, Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
he's another one of those the younger actors that like kind of, because he's one of those. He's like, you have to understand. It's like he wasn't around when I was a kid, so for me, he's the younger actors.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. He did, because he's Swedish, so he kind of did a crossover thing.
Right. So when I saw him in Casino Royale, I was like, wow, this guy's good. But then you start seeing him in different things, and like
he has one of those faces that is just so.
Yeah.
I've always wanted.
He did this Western. I think it was called Salvation. It was such a good film. It's like one of the best modern westerns I've seen in the last few years, and he is so good at it.
Really?
Yeah. It's about a guy comes to America, picks up his wife and his child. He's there for a few years to build a life, and then he picks up his wife and his child, and he was supposed to get a carriage ride to their house, and these two criminals kind of tag along with them, and things go wrong, and then it becomes kind of
a vigilante,
kind of becomes a revenge story after that. And Eva Green is in it too, which is kind of crazy because there was completely different types of roles.
Well, before Michael Madsen died, I had a thought one night that Mads Mikkelsen, Michael Madsen, and Mikey Madison should all be in a movie together, just to annoy people.
Well, I used to always say Keith David and David Keith. If they were just big enough, to have a top billing, on top, or you just put Keith in the middle, David and David on each side.
Come on, studios,
I used to always say, The Rock used to call himself The Rock before he became Wade Johnson. It was like Rock and Diesel would have been a great.
Rock and Diesel.
Would have been a good.
We're giving you these ideas for free. I hope you're taking this.
That would have been a good, because when I was a kid, I was like, I wish Schwarzenegger and Stallone could make a movie, or Bronson or Clint Eastwood. I remember when Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood did a movie together, City Heat. I was like so excited, but the movie actually, unfortunately, was not very good. Still should be seen. It's kind of fun. It has Richard Roundtree and Irene Cara, other people in it, Jane Alexander. But I think it was directed by Richard Benjamin. But it's like such a disappointing, to get your two of your favorite actors in the same movie, but the film itself is not a hit. So
yeah, that's a disappointment. Well, I feel like we could just sit here and talk, just shoot the shit all day. I don't know if we can swear on this, but
I think we can.
We could shoot the shit all day, but I guess we gotta wrap things up. But yeah, thank you to everyone who submitted a question.
Thank you, and we want to wish everybody a happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays.
Merry Christmas and happy New Year and happy Hanukkah and everything else.
And thank you so much for this year of great conversation and great releases. And we will see you next year.